Coach, what did you see in the fourth quarter that gave Minnesota control?
I mean, they jumped on us early in that fourth quarter. I think they started off probably 15-3. We just finishing around the rim, taking some tough ones, allowed them to get out on the break and get some easy baskets, started knocking some shots down, and then we were just playing uphill from there.
How hard is it to overcome a run like that in an environment like this on the second night of a back-to-back?
I mean, this is the league. I think you're going to face these situations, and you got to be prepared for them. And I think our guys battled. They fought. On a second night of a back-to-back, being able to find a way. Guys staying ready. You talk about Caleb Houstan stepping into a big moment, not afraid of the moment, stepping up big, knocking shots down. But again, give Minnesota a ton of credit for the way they came out in that fourth quarter, being able to get stops early and then getting out and running. But again, I think we missed a lot of early easy looks that allowed them to get on the break. And I'll go back and look at it and see exactly what those were. But again, for our guys to continue to battle in this situation on a back-to-back, you got to tip your hat to our guys, but also to Minnesota for the way in which they came out.
That you guys closed that third quarter on a 17-3 run. Just what was working right for you guys that wasn't working in that fourth quarter run?
Well, I think we went to Paolo a lot, and he found some rhythms, found a way to get to the free throw line, attacking downhill, spacing the floor, guys knocking shots down. The ball popped. Again, we got stops. I think we ended that quarter with 7 stops in a row, and I think that was a big key for us to be able to get on a run. But again, our guys coming in that fourth quarter, they jumped on it early because we went on the run, and teams are going to make runs in this league. You just want to slow it down a little bit more by watching the ball go through the hoop, so now you can play against a set defense.
You mentioned Paolo had it going. Franz went, I think, 4 for 16. He had kind of a rough night. Seemed like he was battling a lot of contact. Just what did you see offensively with some of his looks and his performance?
I think battling a lot of contact might be a little bit of an understatement. I mean, there's a couple times that, again, I get the swipe down and the grabs, but he landed on it. He landed on the ground quite a few times, and obviously I understand they want to take away the and one, but a lot of those were early on where, calling the swipe on us, and then Franz ended up on the floor in a lot of these situations. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to beat him up, extra physical with him as he gets downhill. But again, he's a trooper. He's a warrior. He's going to continue to attack the basket and get downhill. And whether that whistle goes our way or not, we cannot control that. But we will still continue to attack the basket the right way.
You've been turning to Caleb more recently, but for him to see the ball go through the hoop 6 times like that from distance, what can that do for him the rest of the season? I
mean, the kid works, and I say this with no hesitation. He might be one of the hardest workers I've seen. This kid is in early, stays late, comes back, works on his shot. He is determined. He is focused. He's a pro. He stays ready. No matter if his number's called for 2 minutes or 22 minutes, he's going to stay ready. And that's what you got to love about him and the way he represents being a professional.
When people talk about future faces of the league, was this kind of an example when you see Paolo and Anthony Edwards play the way that they did, that people can look ahead and say these 2 guys could be it?
They will not be wrong. I mean, you have 2 guys that go toe-to-toe in that way, that big shot needing to be made, a big stop needing to be made. Ant came out, hit a big 3 down the stretch. Paolo comes down, attacks the basket, gets a foul. The back-and-forth battle between 2 guys that are at a high level, superstar status in so many ways, that you have to tip your hat to both of those guys for what they're able to do on the basketball court, and and continue to uplift and empower their team.
You mentioned it was a game of runs. I think the game was tied at 98-all with about 3.5 minutes to go. Obviously, it's fresh, but is there anything that kind of sticks out about those last 3.5 minutes that gave Minnesota the ultimate advantage?
I definitely have to go back and look at that in that situation. I would say that it had to do with if we came down and we may have missed a shot. Long shot, long rebound. I just know Ant came down, hit a big-time 3 in transition. I think when they felt that momentum go, it was a big portion of that. Feeding off the environment, but also trying to take and make the big shot in that moment.
Obviously, you're still processing this, review the film, but Cleveland's next. Just what challenges that possess on Sunday?
I'm definitely not looking at Cleveland right now. I'm going to process this one, walk through the film, watch the film, study it with the coaches, go back what we can improve on, what we did well. and then just find a way to get to Cleveland on Sunday. We'll look at that then.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Caleb, what did you think the difference was tonight, and what was that? How difficult was that fourth quarter run from Minnesota?
It was good. I mean, they're a good team. I think we fought hard, but obviously, they're a good team. I think we put a really good fight, had a lot of good moments. Just got to play like that for the whole 48.
What was working for you from distance tonight?
It just felt good. Felt good in my warm-up before the game, and then just my teammates being able to find me, getting down in the lane, then they all collapse and be able to find me. So just trying to make open shots.
When we've talked to you this year, there's been a lot of talk about just being able to stay ready, just being ready for your opportunity. Can a moment like this spur anything on for the rest of the season down the closing stretch for you?
It's always good to have a good game like this, but I think regardless if I'm playing or not, I have confidence in myself and what I can do. But it always feels good to see a couple shots go in. But yeah.
You guys obviously went to Paolo a lot down the stretch. You had 43 tonight. Just sharing the floor with him out there, what is it like, and how can you guys maybe help the entire team cross the finish line when he has a performance like that?
Oh yeah, he makes it easier for everyone. Just being able to, the whole defense is watching him. So I think it just gives guys like me more open shots and just helps everyone. And then obviously what he's able to do, going downhill or shooting, it's pretty special. So.
Coach Mosley was just saying before that you're one of the hardest workers he's ever seen. When you hear something like that, how much pride do you take in the amount of work that you put in to improve your game?
That's a great compliment to have. It's something that I definitely think I do a lot. It feels good. Yeah.
Obviously, you share the court with Paolo. You've seen Anthony Edwards play many times. When people talk about future faces of the league, often those two guys are mentioned. Just what is your take on that as far as those two guys potentially being, not just cornerstone players for their teams, but also faces of the league?
Two great players. Obviously, they showed it today, and they show it every night. So I definitely agree with what people are saying for sure. Appreciate you guys.
43 points for you, but it came in a loss. Just what can you take away from a night like tonight?
I think we just came up short. We put up a good fight. Made some good runs throughout the game, and gave ourselves a chance to win. They just made more plays than we did.
You mentioned just coming up short. The game was tied at 98 with about 3.5 minutes to go. What did you see in the last stretch of the game that let Minnesota pull away?
I think. I think they just made some big shots, hit some threes. They had some semi-transition where, we had a couple guys still behind the play and they got to the rim, got some threes, and we had a couple possessions where we didn't score.
Sticking on the theme of the runs, you guys went on the big one at the end of the third quarter, but then they responded back at the beginning of the fourth. Just how can you guys maybe tame some of those and kind of play them, more to your standard throughout 48 minutes?
They're a good team, and they're at home. I think they're on a 5-6 game streak, so we knew they was going to come back. They was going to make their run, and they did. And still had a chance to win, but you got to give them credit.
Obviously, Caleb had a pretty good night from distance. Just what did you see from him, and how big of a night like that can that be for him?
Yeah, he just was himself out there. He's always poised, under control, takes the shots when they're open. And he had it going today. He made some huge threes and kept us in the game. Every time it seemed like they were going to go up, 8-10 points, he knocked down a three to put us back in the game.
When people talk about future faces of the league, you and Anthony Edwards are often mentioned. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's great. Two young, talented players trying to lead their teams. And, I love playing against Ant. I spent some time with him. Got to know him. He's a great guy, great competitor. And, it's always fun.
Sunday's game will be nationally televised on ABC. How much are you looking forward to that environment and that opportunity to play in front of a national, even international audience?
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a challenge there in Cleveland. They're playing really well right now, and they kicked our ass last time we played them on TV. So hopefully we have a better effort.
From your perspective, what made tonight so challenging for Franz?
I mean, I think, they're a great defensive team. I think they have a lot of good defenders, perimeter and interior. So they put a lot of different bodies on them. Jaden, he's really long, athletic. A lot of guys aren't able to. A lot of teams and guys in the league aren't able to, meet Franz at the rim when he goes to finish. And, they had a few guys that are long and athletic enough to do that. So I think, it just made it tough. But, I think it's indicative to, how good of a defensive team they are. They lock in on that end, and, they got guys that actually like to defend and like to guard. So they did their job.
Thank you. Is this the best stretch of basketball you feel you've played since the All-Star break?
I mean, is it the best stretch since the All-Star break?
Yeah, like in your career so far, do you feel like this is the best that you've played since the All-Star break?
I still don't understand that question, but I feel like I'm playing all right now. I'm just trying to be aggressive, keep the defense on their toes, and just hunt my shots, and just play my game. So.